how much respect do you think you're getting from other people right now? And imagine what can happen to your professional life or even your personal life if you could get more of it. I mean, so many people get this wrong. When they think about getting deep admiration from others, they think it's down to like skill or talent, but that's not how it works. And looking like how we look and wealth, that's not the key factor either. You know, the latest research suggests that we need something else. So if you're ready to discover how to become the person who gets that deep respect from others, I'm going to show you. Welcome to A Little Nudge. My name is Derek, and for the last 3 decades I've been helping people explore faith and relate their faith to their ordinary everyday lives. And in these videos I'm just giving you little nudges, little tools to help you live a deeper and a more meaningful life. So we all have this deep need to be honoured and to be recognised, don't we? I don't mean like the superficial attention-seeking stuff. You know, we've all got those insecurities. But I mean this deep need we have to be respected by others. But so often we miss how it works. We get it totally wrong. And there's a brilliant book by Morgan Housel called The Psychology of Money. I think I've got it on my bookshelf somewhere, but he talks about this idea. He says, imagine that there's a guy in a brand new red Ferrari just cruising down the street. And what he's thinking as he cruises down the street in his red Ferrari, that everyone's looking at him thinking, wow, he's so cool, that he's getting lots of admiration and respect from other people. But Housel points out actually what's really happening as everybody sees him cruising down the street is they're not thinking he's cool or I admire and respect and honour him. They're thinking if I was him in that car, then everyone would be thinking I'm really cool or honoured or respected. They're imagining the recognition they could get. But if they were in there, they wouldn't get recognition. Everyone else would be thinking, if I was in there, I'd get recognition. And so you get this kind of circle where everyone's getting trapped, imagining everybody's thinking respectful things, but they're not. They're just thinking about themselves. And that applies to so many things. But if we really want respect, then we need to look in a different place. So I'm reading this book by Adam Grant called Hidden Potential. And in it, he talks about research that was done with 1,500 entrepreneurs in West Africa. And they were both men and women aged about 30 to 50. And they were running small businesses in like commerce and manufacturing, etc. And for the research, what they did is they put them in 3 groups. So the first group, nothing happened to them. They were just like the test group, as it were. There was another group that got training in technical skills, like skills to do with their business around PR and finance and marketing and that sort of stuff. And then a third group got training in character aspects of around being disciplined and being proactive and determined and resilience and all that sort of stuff. And what they found is, so they had 5 days of training on either their skills or their character or nothing. And then they looked at them in 2 years' time to see what their impact was. And the entrepreneurs who got skill-based training, their profits went up by 10% compared to the group who didn't have any training. But the group that got trained in character, their profits went up by 30%. And Grant speculates in this that actually if you want to achieve great things, then who you are matters more than what you can do. That actually long term, the thing that matters for your success is your character rather than specific skills. And that it's never too late to learn it. And but we have this odd approach to character. And you can think about it in terms of resume values and eulogy values. Yeah, resume, or in the UK here we call it our CV, you know, the external stuff that you use to impress other people to get a job. And I mean, you also have that like in personal situations in order to get like friendships or to impress people. There's external things in terms of how we come across, maybe the skills we've got and the things that we do, the house that we buy, all that sort of things to impress people. But the interesting thing is the eulogy skills, which is about when we come to our funeral. And I've led a lot of funerals, particularly of people that I've never met before. You know, sometimes people might come to the church and say, can you lead the funeral? So you find out a bit about the person. And nearly always, particularly when I've not met the person, you've led the funeral and you've heard what people have said about them at the funeral, and nearly always I'm left thinking, oh, I wish I knew that person. And here's the interesting thing. When people talk about them at the funeral, here's what they never say. They never say about a work colleague that they were really good at project management. They never say how good they were at cleaning the house. They never talk about their running times. They never talk about how much money they've earned or what their car... All the stuff that's like our CV, our resume values, either for jobs or personal situations, the things that impress people, having white teeth and the way that we dress and the cool way we can tell stories. At a funeral, when we face death, like all that trivial stuff gets stripped away. And they're like a holy moment at a funeral. And really, you talk about the only things that matter. And when it comes to it, at the end of the day, when you summon up somebody's life, the thing that really matters is not what they've done, but who they are. The thing that you really want to talk about and the thing that you really want to hear is what sort of person they are. That the thing that really gets admiration and deep respect is not what people do and the car that they drive and their jobs and their titles and how they look. It's the sort of person they are. I wonder if you would agree with Richard Foster. In 1978, he wrote this book, Celebration of Discipline, and at the very opening paragraph, he says this. He says, what the world really needs, and I wonder if you'd agree with this, it doesn't really need more clever people and it doesn't need more pretty people. What it really needs is more deep people, people of character. When you think about who you want your daughter to marry, you want her to marry somebody of character. When you're thinking in an ideal world, who do you want your boss to be? You want your boss to be somebody of character. When you think about who do you want leading your country, skills are important, but ultimately, wouldn't you like to have someone of depth, someone of character? And that's how you get deep respect. And if you'd want to become that sort of person, how does that happen? Like, how do you become a person of weight, a person of character? There's a fascinating moment in Jesus' life. He's turned 30 and he starts his public ministry. So he'd just been a carpenter and an ordinary bloke up to this point. And then, age 30, he starts his public ministry. He's going to start teaching and acknowledging who he is. And he goes out to the wilderness, and it happens just after he's had this really powerful spiritual experience where he's been baptized, and like the heavens have opened, and he's heard God's voice affirming him, and the Holy Spirit's coming upon him, and people have seen it and heard it and been impressed, and like the doors are open for him to start achieving lots of stuff. But he leaves all the attention to go into the wilderness. And Luke, who writes one of the accounts of Jesus, in chapter 4, verse 1, he has this really intriguing line, because Jesus is going out into the desert, into the wilderness with the wild animals. He's going to fast. He's going to get spiritually attacked. But here's what Luke says. He says Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness. Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness. That before he went on to his public ministry, even though it potentially started with his baptism, he had a season of preparation. That the Spirit led him into wilderness, led him into hardness, led him into a difficult place as preparation. And maybe if you're in a wilderness season, it might be a sign not that God has abandoned you, but that he's going to use you. Maybe you're in a wilderness season. It could be actually preparation for something. It could be a place where God's going to mature you. He's got work to do. He wants to form you. He wants to transform you. And he might have led you there, but even if he hasn't led you there, actually he wants to use it. I mean, that's what happened with Jesus, this season of preparation in the wilderness where things were hard. He was fasting, he was being spiritually attacked, and it was a moment for him just to get stronger and to get clarity so that he could do what God had called him to do. And sometimes when I'm in a hard season, a wilderness season, I want to scream at God. I want to say, why is life so hard? Why don't you just make it easier for me? I don't know, maybe that's just me who does that. Because here's the thing. So last Christmas, my kids got me some of these for helping me get fit and strong. And you got that one, which is, I can push that one quite good. But then you got this one. Well, to be honest, I can hardly move that one. It's really strong. They're resistance bands. And what they do is they make movement harder. I mean, why would you want, do them both together. Why would you want to make movement harder. Surely you want it to be easier, because growth comes through resistance. Growth comes when something's harder. If I just stick with the easy one all the time, I can do that. Cows come home. I'm not going to grow. I'm not going to get stronger. But when you face things that are hard, that you can get stronger. You don't get stronger by avoiding the hard things, avoiding the hard challenges. You grow by trusting God in them. Yeah, that pain isn't the enemy of growth. Pain is the engine of growth. And so one of the ways we develop this deep character that ultimately leads to honor and respect from others is what we do in the hard times. And when we go through hard times and we're in a wilderness experience like Jesus was in, we either become bitter or we become better through that. And it all depends on what our focus is and our intention. And naturally we want to escape it. But if we shift our focus to what God is doing, instead of saying like, how do I alleviate the pain? Just think, pray, God, what are you doing here? All right, in this hard season, what is it you want to do in me? Because in difficult dry seasons for kind of plants, that their roots can go deeper because they need to search for nutrients. And what can happen to you and your character is your roots can go deeper in a hard season, and that makes you stronger for future seasons. That actually the dryness can be preparation so you can be more fruitful. But it depends on your perspective and your attitude, whether we're looking to focus on just escaping and making life as easy as possible, or whether we have that attention of kind of cooperating with God and seeing what he wants to do. And so maybe if you're going through a difficult season, or whenever that happens, if you want to be a deep person, a person of respect, a person of honor, a person who contributes to your community just by the sort of person that you are, then change the focus and seek God's help and ask him, actually, what are you doing here? And how can I cooperate with you? And if life is pretty uncertain just now and you'd look for some rock solid foundations, then you want to check out this video here. And I just talked through how you can build a life that is unshakable, even if everything is uncertain around you. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.